All right, guys, welcome back to the Crypto Boys. Joe P here with you, talking about Cartesi. We have a lot to talk about. Today is an in-depth review. We've only done one of them before, but we're doing a second one today. So we're going to talk about the use case of Cartesi. Is it good? Is it bad? We're going to talk about some of the goods, some of the bads. We're going to talk about the price action. There is so much to talk about today. Let's get into it. Well, what is Cartesi? Well, I'll tell you right now. It's a layer 2 platform for development of smart contracts and dApps. Easy as that, right? What does that even mean? Well, let's take another step back before we even get into that. It has two goals. It wants to increase scalability, and it also wants to increase the infrastructure issue with blockchain technology. Smart contract coding by mainstream software is its main awesome fact that comes into play here. It utilizes Linnux. Not many other blockchain technology uses Linnux. Linnux, if you don't know, was released in 1991. It is one of the most common ways to code nowadays. Chromebooks, it uses it for Mac, Androids, you name it, really popular stuff uses Linux, which is why it's so popular. Until now, if you were a game developer, if you're using Linux, or if you're really in the crypto space, you've had to sacrifice decentralization for accessibility, higher throughput, and programmability, and that is resolved if you're using Linux because, again, you don't have to worry about it. You know how to do it. You can modify things as you need to. It makes it faster. It makes it cheaper, which is why Cartesi is awesome. But the problem is that in the crypto space, not many smart contracts or blockchains can utilize Linux, this terminology or this coding. So the newer coding isn't really utilized because not many people know how to do it yet. So it's like speaking a new language that you have to learn how to speak first, and then you can start talking to people. Whereas if you go somewhere that speaks your same language, you can just start talking to people. Also, this entire video, it's very in-depth, right? I have been looking for days, weeks, a long time into Cartesi because you guys wanted it. So what I'm going to do is give you all the dirty details, but I'm also going to dumb it down to my knowledge so that it makes sense when I'm saying it. It makes sense to you guys. It makes sense to me. Cartesi is a sidechain for Ethereum. Everyone and their mother knows that Ethereum is expensive to use and it's freaking slow. So we need things that are faster, like Polygon and Cartesi. How do they make everything faster? Well, I'll tell you right now. They store all of their data in this side chain. They do whatever they got to do, and then they bring it back, and it is actually saved in that layer 1 Ethereum. So it's backed up, it's stored, but all of the computation and work is done off-chain, basically onto this other ecosystem in this Cartesi world. There's two types of rollups, ZK rollup and optimistic rollup. We're going to dive into those here in a couple minutes. Cartesi uses optimistic rollup. I will give you the most dumbed down explanation of what I possibly can explain how these rollups are that make the most sense to me. All right, so here is their website. It looks pretty sweet. They have a Cartesi bug bounty to help them out for security issues. There is a lot of clickable features on here. They have their Discord, Twitter, you name it. We can scroll down here basically for days. They'll talk about actually what they want to do. Limitless coding, massive scalability, privacy guarantees. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It is able to secure all of those things specifically. Clicking on the ecosystem, the Cartesi ecosystem. Well, where can I buy Cartesi? Is it good? Should I do it? Well, let's check it out. Check out all of these exchanges that you can buy Cartesi on. Binance, Coinbase, KuCoin, Uniswap, centralized, decentralized, you name it. You can get it in a lot of different places, whether in the US or not. Crypto.com. I mean, there's a ton of them. It also gives you options on wallets that you can securely store your Cartesi. There's a lot of good ones here, guys. I mean, I use Trust Wallet. I have Coinbase Wallet. I have Crypto.com Wallet. All of these ones are really, really good. You can store them in many, many different places. The Cartesi team. Let's check it out, guys. Eric Demora. He's a big one. CEO of Cartesi. Really, really good little site here. If you're interested in learning about more of these guys and diving deeper into them, well, I've already done it for you. They are trustable for sure. These guys are on top of it. Let's see. Augusto over here. He has a PhD. He is the CSO, the Chief Scientific Officer here. He was actually the co-founder of IOTA, so trustworthy. IOTA has done very, very well. Let's see. Colin Steele over here, the COO, and then also Diego Nahab. He's the Chief Technology Officer here at Cartesi. There's another couple big names here that are definitely worth noting, but for all of these, if you actually click on them, we had the discussion when we were talking about MTV that if you click on them, didn't really bring you anywhere. Well, that's not the case for Cartesi. It will bring you definitely to their LinkedIn. It'll tell you more about this person. It gives you other links. It tells you blockchain work that they're working on. A lot of great stuff with the team. You love to absolutely see it. That has always been one of our stipulations on these deep dives and these in-depth reviews, is that the team has got to be good. Otherwise, we are not investing in these random goofy projects, right, guys? We want to bring you the latest and the greatest in the crypto space, and this is one of the things. Look at the team. If you're like, I don't know, should I invest in this coin? Well, who's backing the coin? Do they have their face actually transparent, saying right there, hey, this is who I am? If so, they're less likely to be a rug pull and you to lose your money. Okay, guys, we have to talk about ZK Rollup and Optimistic Rollup. Again, Cartesi uses optimistic rollups. I am going to go over it kind of in depth and then break it down to bring you the simplest terms that I possibly can. For the ZK rollup, it's time consuming, but it's very secure. Okay, it goes off chain, but it takes a little bit longer than the optimistic rollup. It cannot execute smart contracts. So for Cartesi, going into Texas Hold'em, you need smart contracts to come into play to make sure that everything is running smoothly without someone hopping in and changing things up. You need a smart contract for that. Since they cannot execute smart contracts with a ZK rollup, it's great for like single, easy transactions, but not things that change consistently. It's also not good for general purpose application. Again, probably wouldn't be your best bet to utilize for Cartesi then. Optimistic rollups offer potentially 10 to 100% increase in scalability. They do things in bigger clusters and chunks off-chain, which makes it a little bit higher of that scalability. More can be done at one time, increasing throughput as opposed to the ZK rollup. It doesn't perform every single computation, though, which is what I'm going to get into here in a second. But if it's challenged is what it's called. If someone calls it out and says, hey, I want to make sure that all of this is correct, it does take a little bit longer. So it's faster most of the time, but it can take a little bit longer if it gets challenged. The person that is running it on that other side of doing these computations, a smart contract, if there is any single one ever that is found that it's incorrect, the actual someone trying to mess with the chain, it becomes fraudulent. It gets nixed from the entire thing, and it gets pushed to the wayside. That will never be used again for that actual specific node. So it's pretty cool technology. It's definitely worth it. It's safe. It's secure. It increases throughput and scalability. Now, here's my everyday comparison. Think of yourself in a classroom. Okay, the teacher is grading all of these tests. You got all the kids in the classroom. Every single time that you have the teacher grade your test, it costs you $1, just to make it a goofy example here. Now, Ethereum is basically the kid that in the class is sitting there every single time they write a word or a number, they bring it up to the teacher and says, hey, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? They do it a ton of times. It's really annoying. It's really costly, and it takes a bunch of time. Now, the ZK rollup is the kid that maybe does one entire problem on a math sheet. Okay, so if there's like a multiplication thing of like, you know, doing your math as fast as you possibly can, they are doing one set of problem at a time. Then they bring it up and they say, hey, are these problems right? This problem that has A, B, and C in it. Yep, teacher brings it back. Okay, that's $1 because I checked it. Great, cool. Now let's bring it to the optimistic rollup. The optimistic rollup is smart. It increases everything. What happens is this kid does the entire math sheet, finishes all of the problems, sits there, does it all, then brings it up to the teacher. It only costs $1 because they're only checking it one time, as opposed to the ZK rollup kid that, you know, checked one answer, brought it up, it's right, okay, good. Go back, do your other ones, whatever, bring it up. It probably costs you maybe a little bit more. Now, the Ethereum kid that's sitting there running up every single second, asking questions and trying to figure it out, super expensive, super time consuming, but this optimistic rollup, guys, it is the way of the future. Cartesi is getting hold of it. They're using Linnux for it. They are sending that kid up only a couple times, but the teacher is checking it. So if anything is wrong on there, they're in big trouble. They've been cheating. They got caught cheating. If you guys have some time, check out their Twitter. They have a couple options of different things on their actual Twitter, things that you can go. You got their Discord on there. They have 68,000 followers. That's pretty good amount. BitBoy follows them, Ben Armstrong, a couple other people for sure. I know BitBoy is in this project, so clearly he trusts it. They give you options on quick rundown, new updates, favorite Cartesi projects, all of these things with the developmental recap. They put stuff out all the time of what is going on with their Texas Hold'em that they are working on, that Cartesi rollup like we were just talking about a little bit ago. If you are confused on this, of course, you can always go down and just start reading stuff. Hello, new roadmap? Yes, awesome. They got new roadmap coming. New information going all the time because they are consistently posting stuff about what is going on in the Cartesi world. They're trying to keep you guys informed so that you're not just like, oh, this is fake. No, definitely not fake. It's going to be helpful. It's going to be awesome for the gaming industry for sure. All right, off to CoinMarketCap, we have to look at the price and the price action. The price hit all-time highs after listing on Coinbase in May of 2021. It has not hit that new all-time high since then. Right now, it's trading at 43 cents. We just had a big dip in the market right now. So, yeah, let's look at the actual market cap, though. This market cap, teeny tiny, $225 million. That's pretty tiny, guys. Fully diluted market cap, $434 million right now. Again, pretty tiny. Big swings in the market will mess this thing up left and right. It's been around since 2018. It's been around for a long time. Didn't do much like these projects typically do, and then they explode. It ran up big time right here, kind of came back down, slowly stepped up. Boom, look at this massive run up that I was just talking about when it hit its all-time high of $1.72 pretty much, right around that number. It tried to run back up in November when everything hit new peaks, when Bitcoin was running back up. It couldn't get the seam to pull it back. Now, again, we are trading at about 43 cents. All right, so to get into my take, the good and the bad, right? Well, here's the good. It's using Linnux. Cartesi uses Linnux, which is the normal everyday terminology that a lot of coders actually know. I had no idea what Linux was. I'm not a coder. I don't do any of that stuff, but I know what Mac is. I know what Chromebook is. I know that those run on Linux, so clearly it must be pretty darn good. The other good is the optimistic rollup. We talked about that. It increases throughput. It will increase scalability, guys. It is that next step up. Not every single platform or coin or token or whatever uses this, because not every single one has to use these smart contracts. Now with Cartesi doing Texas Hold'em, other gaming industries, hopping into NFT and ownership, you're going to need that optimistic roll-up to make things fast. You can't just rely on that Ethereum network because it is way too slow and way too costly. And the last one, like I just talked about, it's cheaper. It's low cost. Everyone wants something that's low cost and faster. I mean, if your internet provider came to you and were like, hey, we're going to give you this deal where it's 10 times faster and it's half the price, you'd be like, well, what's the catch? That's got to be fake. Nope, we'll use optimistic rollups now. I don't care what that is. Give it to me. I want it for sure. Let's get into some of the bad. I guess one of them is that if you've been staking your Cartesi, now they have a mainnet that's launched, but to get it off, previously you were probably staking on the Ethereum network. You're probably going to have some fees taking it off, which really isn't that bad, I guess. You can get onto the mainnet now, so I guess that's a negative. The other negative that I would say is that it's new. Like, it's a newer idea to utilize Linnux, which is the previous good gold standard of writing some coding and stuff like that, and now applying it to blockchain technology. So you're taking the old and applying it to the new. Sometimes that carryover just simply doesn't work. I think it's a really good project. I truly do. But to take something that has old use case and apply it to something new sometimes doesn't always work. Also, it hit all-time highs in May and didn't hit that all-time high again in November when everything hit all-time highs. When Bitcoin hit that $68,000 mark, how come Cartesi didn't run up with it? It ran up, but it didn't hit new all-time highs. That makes me a little, We need to get this thing running. We need to get the Texas Hold'em running. If it gets that Texas Hold'em game running and people start playing on it, I think people are going to be really, really happy. Some of the degenerates out there like messing around with their money. They like spending money on Texas Hold'em. This would be a great way to do it because it takes the hands out of this dealer. There's no dealer. There's a computer generating it as a dealer, and it can't be messed with or tampered with or cheated or anything like that. Sometimes you feel like you get cheated a little bit playing Texas Hold'em on your phone. I know I have for sure. But now that takes that out of that with the optimistic rollups. All right, guys, so that's my thoughts on Cartesi. That is my in-depth review. So far, there is a lot going on with the project. It's come a long way. It's grown a lot. It's using Linux. We got a lot of good things rolling with it. I'm excited for this project. I really, really am. I'll be completely honest with you. For our next in-depth review, you guys got to give us a comment. Drop it down below of what you want to see us review a little bit more in depth and kind of dive into the logistical aspects of it and dive into some of the stuff that maybe you don't know. If you do like Cartesi, if you're bullish on it, if you think it's going to hit all-time highs here next year or this year, you got to give a thumbs up for the actual video, for the in-depth review. You got to subscribe to the channel. And as always, guys, thanks for joining the fittest crypto channel on YouTube. We'll check you guys next time.